inviting my sister to my baby shower.
Oh. Oh. Okay now.
Okay.
You better have a good excuse. This better be the
Okay.
sister from last week's episode. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and listen.
The first episode.
Episode 1.
Episode
Yep.
1, yeah. All right. My husband and I have been trying to have a baby for several years. We had a really hard time conceiving, but after a few years of trying, we finally got pregnant. We told our family the news and told them the baby names we had picked out: Violet for a girl and Carson for a boy. We unfortunately lost the baby in the second trimester. Then we experienced 2 more miscarriages, both in the first trimester, and went through a couple of more rounds of failed IVF. It was a very difficult and traumatic time for us. We visited my family over the 2022 winter holidays, and my sister announced that she was pregnant. I was genuinely happy for her until she told us the names they'd chosen: Violet for
Electric
a girl,
chair. Electric chair.
Carson for a boy.
Electric chair.
I took her aside and told her that I was very happy for her pregnancy, but hurt and confused that she would choose our baby names, especially with everything we've been going through. And she basically said, "Don't try to pull the miscarriage card on me. You can't call dibs on a name." I tried. I know. I tried talking to her a couple of more times about it, but each time she say things like, "You might never have kids, you can't just keep those names and reserve forever," and was just so hurtful. I stopped bringing it up for the sake of keeping the peace, and after a few months, she told my parents she wasn't going to use either of those names, but wouldn't tell anybody what name they had chosen. Well, fast forward to a couple of months ago, and she gave birth to her baby girl, Violetta Carson. And I'm just so hurt.
I don't mean it. I have.
And mind you,
it's the fact that she called that baby Violetta.
Mind you, so when the reader, because you can't see it, but the reader, when she showed Carson for a boy, it was spelled Carson. She names the baby girl Violetta Carson, but she spells it Krsyn. So hold on, I got a little bit more. Yeah. I found out in the early spring that I'm pregnant, and I'm far enough along now that the doctors feel pretty good about everything, and we let our families know last month. My mom and her friends have planned a baby shower, but I told her I don't want my sister invited. My mom said I'm being an asshole for not inviting her over the baby names. But at this point, it's not even about the name to me anymore. It's the malicious comments, the lack of compassion, and the overall pettiness. So tell me, good people of Reddit, am I the asshole for not inviting my sister to my baby shower? And one more thing for further context, prior to this, my sister and I were decent terms. She's always been competitive and attention seeking, and growing up, she'd find ways to one up me or make my special occasions like my birthday party or high school graduation all about her, but never to this extent. I have thoughts. So I don't know if you want to go first.
Let me before I forget.
Okay.
Let me just say this, right? I completely understand every emotion. I don't understand. I empathize with every emotion that you're feeling, right? And I completely think that you and your sister should have a very limited relationship moving forward. However, to me, the best petty course of action would be to let her come to this baby shower, to let her get you all the gifts in the world. Let her be around to help you put up the nursery, put some food in the house, when you about to have a baby, everything is so exciting. And then cut off all contact with her as soon as that baby is born. Don't put no bad karma on that baby or your pregnancy leading up to the birth of that child. Just let it be what it is. If you want to let her see the baby, cool, whatever. But keep that contact very, 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 very limited. Because I don't think it's worth cutting your sister out your life over
Mhm.
this. To me,
Right.
to me, I
Right.
don't. I don't think the name should be like I'm cutting my sister off, but I
Yeah.
do think it should be. We having bare minimum contact until I can get over it
Right. Because well, and
because it is disrespectful
it
the way
is,
that she carried that.
but it sounds like it's not even about the names at this point. It was the malicious nature in which she responded to her, again, to her saying this hurts me, and you deciding it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I have, like I said, I have thoughts and I have opinions.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
will say this, that when I read this, I personally, I didn't see a problem. I didn't,
With what?
I, if it was me, I picked these names out years ago. These are the names that I have chosen. These are the names that you knew I have chosen. No one person is ever going to choose a baby name that nobody else has. So, as far as I'm concerned, if I have a girl, her name's going to be Violet. And if I have a boy, his name's going to be Carson. I told you what the baby's name. You decided to name your child the same thing. That's not my problem. They're not going to be in the same grade. They're probably only going to see each other once in a while. They're cousins. Your child's name is Violetta. My child's name's Violet.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay, because I wouldn't understand what you were saying at first, but now I
Yeah,
get you.
I
I
don't see
get
the
you. Yeah.
problem in. No, she's absolutely
Mm,
right. You can't baby nap a name or whatever it's called, or whatever. You can't gatekeep it or whatever. You can't. There's no
mm-hmm.
one person. You're never going to find a name, no
That's
matter
right.
how you spell it, how you say it. It's never going to be
Mm-hmm.
so unique that nobody else in the world has it.
You need. Sorry.
So I personally don't see that. I would have been like, oh, okay, maybe it'll make them closer in the end that they have similar names,
I mean, Violet
because
and Violetta, cousins. That's kind of cute.
it's kind of cute. Exactly.
It's kind of cute.
And me personally, I know the truth and you know the truth. So if we ever
Mm,
meet someone down there and they're like, oh, you named her after, it's like, no, actually, I told her these are the names I chose and she decided to do it. That's just going to be the truth. If you look bad, that's on you. But me personally, I just don't see, you know, I don't think you should let your sister choosing this name, choosing this and getting it first, diminish your love of these names.
yeah.
These are truly the names that you love, that you can't think of anything else that you love, because this is going to be your child, this is the one, this you're going to have them for the rest of your life, then don't let her take that away from you. Name them what you want to name them.
Mm-hmm.
If you know so that was my opinion when I first read this. I'm like, I just don't, because I read a lot of these where someone in their lives have stolen their child's name, and there's a few of them that I've read where they're like, we're going to name them this anyways, and the other person gets so mad about it, and it's like, i
Listen
told
here.
you I
Yeah.
told you what their name was going to be. You're the one who decided to
Mm-hmm.
also choose that name, so I'm going to
Yeah.
name them what I want to name them. Now, granted, if it's been a little while, maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've thought about it and might have found something else that you like, because at the end of the day, she is saying it's not even about the names anymore. Like, it's more about
Yeah.
how she reacted. And I get that, maybe she could have gotten over the whole naming thing, but it's the way
Mm-hmm.
you diminished her pain of having to go through these miscarriages. And for someone who just had a baby,
Yeah.
I would have thought you would have been able to empathize with
Mm-hmm.
her, because what if it had been you? What if you had lost your
Mm-hmm.
child before this?
That's
So,
the wildest part to me, and the thing that makes me like, okay, I do want y'all should still have some type of relationship, very minimal relationship. But it's the fact that you made a point of saying like, okay, never mind about the names, and then surprising everyone with a remixed version. Like, you so deaf for somebody, like you gonna remix the names and be like, well, technically they aren't. Well, technically you aren't my sibling.
I was about to
Well,
say, because,
technically you're not allowed to my house anymore. Well, technically you were having a relationship with my child.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
And it's funny that we're
That's the
reading
evil
something
part.
like this. We're reading something like this because we literally just talked about this when you were rewriting the person's thing. We're like, well, we just copied it. We didn't copy it. We rewrote it. We made it our own. This is not what we meant. This is
No,
not what we meant
no,
by
no.
remaking it and making it our
Because
own.
this
This
lady
is
went through real. I'm not gonna identify what she went through because I don't know what word she uses to describe it. But this lady went through several what a lot of people would describe as traumatic events.
mhm,
Trying to uh come to full term with a
yeah,
pregnancy.
getting your hopes up and
You
losing
know what
it.
I'm saying? There's a lot of
Mhm.
emotions wrapped up in that. There's a lot of, preparation wrapped up in that. She has to, you know, a lot of relationships don't last in that process. Like people lose themselves, their relationships, they lose a lot of things. And, the IVF journey is expensive as hell
Yeah,
for a lot of people.
it
So
is.
not to mention the financial burden, I won't say burden, but the financial aspect
Mhm.
is very, very real for people.
Mhm.
So for you to just, because low key, I would look at it as you don't give a damn about me. Like
Right.
you really, really don't care about me or what I've been through
Yeah.
at
Same.
all for you to do. Like while the name itself isn't that big of a deal, like you said, I will still name my child this, especially since you remixed the name.
Mhm.
But it's the fact that you would even the
Yeah.
fact that you would even get that close
Yeah.
to make the point to me, like I don't care nothing about you. Well, if you
Mhm.
don't care anything about me, then why? Let's just end it here.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
just
cuz
end this relationship here.
it's not like she took both the names. She didn't
Yeah,
just take one of them. She
yeah,
chose both the
both
names. This
on
sounds more
purpose.
personal than it does
Mm-hmm.
about her like actually liking the
Liking the
names.
names exactly.
So,
It's
yeah,
sinister. The
yeah,
word is
it
sinister.
is. Because like I said, I'm not someone I personally don't believe in someone uh having dibs on a name. I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
that's not a thing. Like if I got pregnant and there's a name I really loved and someone I knew was like, "Oh, I really like that name too." And next thing I know they're coming out with it. I'm like, "Oh, well, our children's going to have the same names." Cool.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not something that's a stress you don't need to put on yourself. But I do
Mm-hmm.
understand the emotions, the possessiveness that people feel towards this because it's
Yeah,
a very common thing. You choose a name, you think, you have things going and the next thing you know someone that you're close with hears it and then chooses it because it is a you're choosing it because I'm choosing it thing,
yeah,
you know? But
yeah,
if you can find a way to let it slide, let it brush off you, and just be okay with it. Someone else in the world is going to have the same name as your kid, and they might even be in the same class, and maybe they grow up, and your kids might actually love it. It might be the one
yeah,
thing that brings them closer. We have the same name. We
yeah,
have exactly the same name. Try not to
yeah.
look at it as a bad thing, as thing. But in this case, with
In this
this sister,
case, yeah.
I agree. I don't
This was
think.
vindictive. It was nasty. It was
Yeah.
conniving. She schemed on you.
Yeah.
She really played with you and your family by
Mm-hmm.
naming taking both. She
Both.
wanted to make sure that she took possession of both
Yeah.
names in the midst of what you're going through.
Which is why I personally would be angry about it and allow that
Yeah,
anger
yeah.
to make it so that you can be like, you know what? Again, if you
Yeah.
really like these names, name your kid that, regardless of
Did
how
she say if she
anyone
was
else
the
is gonna think.
oldest or youngest sibling?
I don't think she did say
She didn't
whether or
identify.
not, because I don't
Okay.
think she put her. Yeah, no, because she didn't
Because
identify.
I could see it both ways. Either this it really sounds like an older sibling who is
It
jealous of the
does.
younger sibling. It sounds
Yeah.
like the sister who stole the names essentially is the
Hmm.
older sister. And the
Yeah.
sister who was having trouble conceiving is the younger sister.
Right.
who the older, because sometimes the older sibling can be jealous of the younger sibling,
Mhm.
you know, for natural reasons. Maybe the
Yeah.
parents, in the beginning were, just building their life when with older sibling was born. So they didn't have all the amenities. They didn't have all the fun things.
Mhm.
And then when the younger sibling came along, they could get those things. So the older sibling was naturally jealous. They got the dote on the younger sibling more. So she
Mhm.
just brought that into her um adulthood and into her relationship, when her younger sibling became an adult. And that takes a lot of self awareness and accountability and therapy to work through.
Yeah.
Um and someone so vindictive that they steal, the names of the child that you have been trying to have and not being able to have.
Mhm.
That's mm-mm,
Yeah, I agree. Like I
mm-mm,
said, I think I was trying to say this earlier. I agree about, this may not necessarily be something that you cut her off completely, but
mm-hmm.
low contact definitely probably needs to be a thing.
Yeah,
Um,
minimal.
and you know what? I'm not saying this for the mom because I don't know what your relationship with your mom is. But if you do generally have a good relationship with your mom, maybe you need to have a serious conversation about how her telling you this is an asshole move really affected you.
Mm-hmm.
This
Yeah.
is a you obviously need to have a conversation with her because I
Mm-hmm.
get being put in the middle. I mean, I don't get because I don't have kids, but I'm understanding that a parent being put in the middle between their two children. But
Yeah.
again, going back to you don't need to s- stick up or your family just because they're family doesn't mean they're right. So
Yeah.
someone has to be wrong, and it's definitely
Yeah.
not you. So this was definitely a not the asshole for
Yeah.
me. I do
Yeah.
have there's a couple of comments. The top
Mm-hmm.
comment looks to be like, not the asshole. I'm usually on team you can't call dibs on a name. Same. But the fact
Mm-hmm.
that she chose both names
I
you had
mean,
picked and is completely dismissive of the
yeah.
pain caused by miscarriage makes it seem like this is more about hurting you than choosing a name she really likes. I
Yeah.
said the same. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, someone said, well, she's now stuck with her daughter having Carson with a K for a middle name, so OP gets the last laugh.
And you know what? That is petty. Yeah, yeah.
I'm with it.
Honestly, I feel like everybody is on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Listener, if you have a differing opinion, I would really love to cuss you out in the comments. So go ahead and let us know if you see it from a different perspective. If or if you've been through something similar to what the original poster has been through, and you know s- i- if you can share, if you feel like sharing how you would feel in a situation similar to this, having been through what the original poster has been through, how you would feel if someone took close to you took those names um before you got the chance to use them. That would be, I would love to have that dialogue in the comment section, because that is really, 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 I just can't fathom doing that to somebody. I
Yeah,
really can't.
I can't either. But I would personally, if anyone has done what I have suggested and has had someone stolen your child's name and you've ignored it and named your child the same thing, please send me the stories. Email it to
Ooh.
us. Email it to us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's something you're comfortable letting us, I would love to
T
hear
and
this.
Crystal at gmail.com.
Uh,
Send it to
Send it
us.
because I would love
Yeah.
to hear the fallout of it. That's
Yeah.
what I want to hear about. I want to hear how these
Ooh.
people reacted, how
Let
they
me tell you
felt.
something. If y'all be getting into fisticuffs and whatnot, send us your fight videos,
Right.
while you had it. If y'all be out
And
here throwing bows, I would, Like Monique said, I would love to see it.
Right? And I want to know if it made you feel better by not allowing this person to steal something from you, like to steal
Mm,
something from you. Like that you
yeah.
didn't let it be that. You didn't steal
Yeah.
anything from me. You chose
Hmm.
you heard or found or saw a name that's the same as mine. You liked it just as I get it. I like it too. That's why I'm
Yeah.
choosing it. So you chose it too.
Exactly.
I want to hear how you allowed yourself to not let someone diminish your love of something you found.
Yep.
So,
So I think as a consensus, we can say that this lady is not the